Eat to Live has probably sold over 1 million copies. I mean, that thing, I think I read it's been on the New York Times, or it was on the New York Times bestseller list for over 90 weeks. That's phenomenal.
Yes, and it was on the #1 spot in the self-help books for like over a year. I think it sold over 3 million books.
Oh my God. Yeah. Wait, that's incredible. That's incredible. That's huge. Huge congrats on that.
Thank you.
And so you've written right around 10 different books, if I'm not mistaken.
I think 12 books.
Okay, 12. There you go. There you go. And the latest one in your quiver is this one right here, Eat for Life, that came out in 2020.
Right.
And you say that of all your books, this one kind of this is where you've kind of distilled everything down, right? And all your life's work in this book. Is that correct?
Something like that. I mean, it's obviously you would need to put together 3 or 4 of my books to be more comprehensive. I mean, even my book, Fast Food Genocide, the end of, there's a lot of information. There's some information in books that obviously can't be put into one book. However, I think the latest book, I recommend that one because it has the most updated references and the most comprehensive array of references. So it has more than 2,000 scientific references in there. And I've reviewed more than probably 30,000 scientific studies. I think that makes the book a great resource for people who want to get scientific references to various topics in plant-based nutrition too,
Yeah. Well, it's a fantastic book. I've read it over the last couple of days and thoroughly enjoyed it. And you have such a nice writing style, and you don't hold back on throwing any punches. You just kind of say it how it is. Now, let me ask you this. So for people that, and I'm sure just about everybody is, but for people that potentially are not familiar with you, can you let them know, broad strokes, what exactly is a Nutritarian diet, which is kind of what you propose in your philosophy?
Right. I really like that word Nutritarian, and I'll tell you why. Because it better defines a diet that means like a super healthy diet, a diet of nutritional excellence. It's us health nuts that are Nutritarians, where the other terminologies, I don't think really defines a person who's interested in eating for health and not self-sabotaging themselves with self-destructive foods as much. Even whole food plant-based doesn't give you a diet that has maybe enough vegetables in it, or a salad every day, or includes sprouts and mushrooms and onions. It doesn't really, because you can be on a macrobiotic diet or just living on nothing but rice and be a whole food plant-based. You could be on a fruitarian diet and so in other words, it defines the inclusion of a wide variety of healthy foods that us Nutritarians are trying to put in our diet. And it gives an identity. And I think it's very important for people who have issues with their overweight, they're unhealthy eaters, they have a tendency to food addiction, they're trying to change their diet for healthy eating. And we're trying to say to a person, unless you've changed your identity and you're proud of who you are in your new identity, you're not going to do well under the criticism of conventional society of not going out drinking and smoking and eating unhealthfully with your buddies. You got to be proud of who you are and build and have internal self-esteem based on your living a healthy life. And until you're going to have constant troubles with living this way unless you're proud of your new identity as a healthy eater. So that's where I think that word Nutritarian can be particularly healthy and helpful. Because it defines a diet, not just being plant heavy or plant rich or plant based, whatever those words mean specifically, but more specifically, we're interested in our own excellent health, and we're willing to adjust our food intake and our dietary intake to try to be as healthy as we can.
Great. What do you say to people who argue that there are a variety of best diets that are out there, just depending upon your particular genetic makeup or unique individuality?
Well, we may sometimes have data to suggest that may be true, but at this point, we don't have such data right now, because right now we are primates, and as a primate, we have a high requirement for phytochemicals and antioxidants, and our immune system And our antioxidant response element in the cells that repair broken DNA or remove toxins from cells is dependent on a large intake of colorful and plant material. So they could want to think that our genetics or some other thing could make us more carnivore, carnivore-like or something, or a person who maybe is able to eat more meat. But we haven't identified such an individual yet who has, in any genetic way, that makes eating a high meat diet safe. Now, that doesn't mean that some people don't have more risks from eating unhealthfully or eating more animal products, and some people have less risk. And that doesn't mean that some people can't develop digestive deficiencies or digestive idiosyncrasies that require some animal products in their diet, but it's still not a primary a genetic inheritance. And that a diet can't be excellent for a person's long-term health and prevention of heart disease, stroke, dementia, and cancer without including a large quantity of these antioxidants and phytochemicals that are found in natural and whole plants. So that there's no genetic type that doesn't need green vegetables. And there's no genetic type, even if you have an onion allergy or you still would have been benefit to your longevity if you didn't have the allergy to onions, and you could have ate some onions and scallions and mushrooms in your diet. So it's better to have more nutritional variety and to be able to eat vegetables and plants as a means to extend human lifespan, even if there are some individuals that don't tolerate beans or don't tolerate nuts or don't tolerate certain plants. They still would have been better off for their health had they tolerated those things and were able to eat them. And even if a person needs to eat some animal products because of some medical condition, they're still better off eating the least amount possible, not the most amount possible.
In your practice, have you come across people that, for whatever reason, can't tolerate beans?
Yeah, you occasionally, let's say, have a person who, has some digestive problem where beans don't work well for them. And very often we have to give them a teeniest bit of beans, like a teaspoon with each meal. And over a period of months, have them develop the ability to digest those with more time. But there are some people with certain conditions, maybe like colitis or Crohn's, that with inflammatory bowel disease or other digestive, that may never do well with a large amount of beans in their diet. Their diet has to include a lot of cooked starchy vegetables because they just don't handle the higher protein or higher acid or higher digestive needs of beans. But that's still, it's better, healthier to be able to tolerate and eat beans, and they're linked to reduction of cancer and enhancement in longevity and more muscle and bone strength with aging. So it's better to be able to tolerate beans and eat them when you can. It's rare that a person can't.
Yeah.
But most people who can't can still tolerate small amounts and and over time even tolerate more.